and welcome to today's program. Today's lecture is on a topic that is not only relatable and relevant to us all, but in fact critical to our existence and to those of the future. Breathtaking winters of Delhi, how to survive. To deliver this lecture, we are delighted to have distinguished pulmonologist Dr. Ashish Jen with us. But before we begin today's program, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have in our midst Ambassador Bhashpati Mukherjee, President of the India Habitat Center. May I please invite Ambassador Mukherjee on stage to grace us with her words and also introduce today's speaker.
Thank you very much for those kind words. I'm delighted to be here to be introducing one of the best pulmonologists that we are lucky to have here in India and in Delhi, Dr. Aish Jen, who's had an illustrious career of over 25 years and is currently the Director and Head of Department of Pulmonology at NAC Super Specialty Hospital. Not only is he a very caring doctor, his diagnosis is always spot on, and he is one of the rare doctors who explains to his patients the nature of the illness, the course of treatment that he's providing. He answers questions very patiently, and what is most important is, I think he's got a 99.5% survival rate, so what better doctor can I do? He also has international renown, including with the French embassy. The French, I can tell you, having spent how many years now? 12 years in France and 6 years in Geneva. These are people who are very much into plain and simple heavy smoke, and they don't care. And they usually get a kick out of a cigarette, which used to be like, when I was in college, we used to call it charms or something. They have a cigarette called Gulmohar, which doesn't have a filter tip, and which they smoke incessantly the whole day long, particularly in their kitchen. Then when their lungs give way, they come on a special flight, and Dr. Jain's office checks them in, like into a hotel or into a hospital, and then he cures them and he sends them back dancing. That's what the French embassy people told me. So I asked him and he confirmed it. Mm-hmm. I do think that the subject matter of the discussion is very appropriate for all of us. In fact, when I mentioned it in my IFS bachelor's group last week, they were very excited and insisted that we should do video recording because many of them are afraid to come out in this position to hear the lecture. Because people have told them to stay at home, etc. I first met Dr. Ashish Jen on 16th of December last year. What happened was that on a Sunday, I just had 99.5 temperature and a little breathlessness. So when I told my doctor at Max, Dr. Tifu, he said that we need to get you X-ray, etc., because you're a person who's never had a lung problem. And I never also got COVID during the COVID period. I never got COVID. So when they saw me, they said, you've got very dangerous double pneumonia and we have to check you in. And when I checked in, and at the first time, I met this gentleman, Dr. Ashish Jen, who came into my room and 10 doctors with him, and he said, I'm going to put you on assisted oxygen. I said, oh no, you're not. You're not doing anything of the sort. I don't need it. And that's why I'm saying he's a very caring doctor, because he explained to me that if I don't take the assisted oxygen, which is a little tube in my nose now, he will put me in the ICU tomorrow. So you see, he's a very firm guy. You have to listen to him. And he really scared me, so I put the assisted oxygen. And he had me out of there after some very interesting procedures which he will tell you about, and whose names I have changed and given Hindi names. There's one particular procedure which he put me through, which was that when you do a lung X-ray to eliminate, or rather lung biopsy to eliminate cancer, sometimes on rare occasions, air gets into the hole and the lungs start floating. To put the lungs back, there's a very cozy little procedure in English, which is called curly pig's tail. Pigtail. Pigtail makes you think of a British farm with cozy little pigs roaming around and people coming and stroking them, etc., etc. But actually, it's a procedure by which you insert something into the back of the patient, into the lungs, and it opens out and looks like a hanger. It's also actually quite painful because it's done under local anesthesia. So when the time came to take it out, I looked at it and I said, "This is a cloth hanger." He said, "Yes." I said, "You never told me." He said, "Naturally, I never scare my patients." So I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. This curly pigtail, or whatever you call it in English, its real name I'm giving you." He said, "What is that?" I said, You're from North India, Hindi-speaking person. I am naming this procedure Suar Ka Pooch. And now in Max Hospital, everyone calls it Suar Ka Pooch. I said, because Suar Ka Pooch is double curled, like a hanger. And then you understand why it's called pig's tail, because it has two hangers hanging on both sides of your lungs to push it together. So these are the various things I learned while I was under his care. And I am going to end by welcoming him very warmly to Habitat, telling him that the pollution got hold of me yesterday, and so I lost my voice. So then I told my team, I said, they will all come and I will all praise him, and they'll say, "But what kind of cure did they give ma'am? Because for 1 year she's still coughing." And you see, I haven't coughed even once, right? So I'm on the path to recovery. I'll end with a small poem, which is called Breathe. This poem is by Becky Hemsley, and it's actually about letting women breathe, because I'm a strong leader of the women's movement. But letting me breathe is also a sign of what Delhi needs, which is letting us breathe. So I'm going to read out 4 lines to you and hand over to him. In Breathe, it says, this is about what they expect from a woman, and when the woman achieves it, and they say, no, this is not good, do the opposite. So it says, she sat at the back, and they said she was shy. She led from the front, and they hated her pride. They asked her advice, and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud, then were shocked by her silence. Then the poem ends. Then she found a small clearing, surrounded by firs, and she stopped and she heard what the trees said to her. And she sat there for hours, not wanting to leave, for the forest said nothing. It just let her breathe. And so I conclude by saying that please, Delhi, let us breathe and let us listen to very caring lung specialists like Dr. Jain, and let's hear what he has to tell us so that we can ultimately manage to survive these long winters until we can put our pollution problem together. So Dr. Jain, I'll thank you very much on the stage, and I will go back to
So, thank you, Ambassador, for such kind words. I'm so happy that my patients remember me fondly, and despite of all the struggle and the pain in the hospital, if you have good memories and if you're happy to share them, I'm very happy with it. So let us start with this. Oh Delhi, you take my breath away. Well, quite literally. Can we have the lights dim, please? Yes. And the reason of these two stark pictures is this one, pollution. We are so familiar with this. With every passing year, with every passing day, we hear the same thing. And now we have become immune to the word pollution. We don't even talk about it. We don't even discuss it has moved from the headlines to small little AQI levels in the newspapers. But unfortunately, our body have not become immune to this, and therefore we must talk about it, and we must try and improve our living conditions. Now, these are certain things that I'll be touching upon during next 30 minutes or so. So let's start with the jargons that we use daily. So there are some primary pollutants, there are some secondary pollutants, there are indoor and outdoor pollutants. Let me tell you one more thing. If this is a myth, let me bust it. The indoor pollution is up to 10 times more, the indoor air rather is up to 10 times more polluted than the outdoor air, right? Not only does it have the outdoor air coming in, bringing in the pollution, but all the stuff that are generated within the house, the kitchen smoke, the room spray, the perfume, the animal dander, the dust on the carpet, the mites, the mosquitoes, the kachua chalk, and the agarbattis, and the rootbattis, and whatnot. So the indoor pollution is far worse, although tonight will be, I'll be sticking to the outdoor air pollution. So these are some jargons, and then this is the word that we hear every day, and now it has become, synonymous with our daily talking. What is the AQI level today? So this was first coined by the Environmental Protection Agency in US, and it is an index for reporting the air quality. India accepted it in September 2004 by Central Pollution Control Board under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and it is also called as NAQI, that is the National AQI. What is AQI? It is a composite index of all these pollutants, the major 8 pollutants. Some countries they measure 6, some countries, India measures 8. So ozone, PM10, PM2.5, SO2, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, NH3, lead, etc. So these are the individual pollutants. There are multiple centers all across India and multiple centers here in Delhi as well. They monitor these levels in the ambient air continuously, and then they average it out, and then based on this, the AQI level is generated, and based on the AQI level, we enforce odd even. Now these are the various categories that we have. We rarely see this good category here in India, especially in Delhi, but we are very familiar with severe and very severe category. Now there are some primary pollutants that these are the things that we generate, like automobile engines, the industries, the natural disasters like volcanoes and the wildfires, etc. So these are the primary pollutants. And then these primary pollutants, they react in the atmosphere under sunlight and some moisture and other gases, and then they cause the secondary pollutants. And both these primary pollutants and the secondary pollutants, they are responsible for the kind of pollution that we see every day. So these are the primary pollutants, the sulfur, some of the primary pollutants, major being the carbon monoxide, and where they come from, major being the transportation and the industries and industrial processes, etc. And this is the Delhi's daily chart that I could take out from Google. And I don't know what I was doing on this 18th of July 2021. Must be very happy man on that day. That is the only one green day that we can see in 365 years. this is a big horror story. Now, what are the causes? The causes of the air pollution, I'll touch very briefly. We all know the industry and energy supply, all these mills, the factories, the power plants, the refineries, etc. The dust, very poor infrastructure. You move out of this Lutyens Delhi a little few kilometers, and you will see that the sides of the roads, the shoulder, as they say, are still unpaved, and there are plenty of dust. And every time a truck or auto rickshaw or motorbike runs through these shoulders, it generates air and puts it back in the air. It generates dust. The agricultural practices, the ill-famed parali burning, the transport, we can't do without it. We talk about the pollution and we drive the cars every day. The waste management, we can hardly handle our own waste. I think Delhi can only handle 40 to 50% of the waste that dialects generate. So we are living on garbage dump, and then plenty of household energy that we generate. So these are the major causes of pollution, and behind these pollutions are we. We are responsible for the air we are breathing. That's same aim. If I don't stop driving a car, if I don't stop putting on the air condition, if I do not ask my society not to put the generator on to give me 24-hour supply, if I stop burning, or if I dispose of my waste properly, I have a right to question the government, and I can ask the government to make the policies for this. So I am equally responsible for the air that you are breathing. What are the common air pollutants? I'll just run through. Not that it will, it may add some value to your knowledge base. So we'll just run through these quickly. The ozone, or the ground level ozone, is colorless and highly irritant gas. So the automobile combustion, the power plants, the refinery, they generate this ozone, and sometimes this ozone is also a sort of a secondary pollutant. The pollutants, they in presence of the heat and sunlight, they make ozone, and this ozone is different from the ozone that we are worried, in which we are creating gold, right? This is troposphere ozone, or ground level ozone, or bad ozone as we say, and this is generated by us. So we don't want this, and we don't want hole in this. And what does it do? It causes burning of eyes, throat, irritated mucous membrane, so you cough, and cough. Because of this, it leads to shortness of breath, wheezing, coughing. The asthma gets exacerbated, the COPD gets exacerbated, and so on and so forth. The particulate matter, these are the dust, dirt, soot, smoke, drops of liquids in the ambient air. These are the particulate matters, both the 10 and 2.5, and even smaller one. The construction, the wildfires, the wood burning, and the dusty roads. These are responsible for generating the particulate matters in the ambient air. If we measure it with the, or just to have an idea about the size of this is a human hair, and these are the fine beach sands, right? So this is the size of PM10, and on top of that hair is lying PM2.5. The problem with the PM2.5 and even smaller particles is that they are respirable particles. They go, you inhale them, they go deep inside your lung, in the alveoli, where the air exchange is taking place, and they cause damage over there, right? The PM10 can vary, I'll tell you, next slide. So this is the PM10. Majority is because of the dust that we see, the infrastructure. We are so happy building roads and factories and bridges and whatnot, but at the same time, there is a cost to it. And the PM 2.5, the waste burning and the transport is the most important culprit to generate this PM 2.5. Now the PM10 can go up to the major airways there. As I said, these are the coarse particles, and because of their size and the heavy nature, and coupled with the protective mechanism that the God has given us, these particles, they get trapped in the upper airways, right? But the PM 2.5, it goes deep into your lung and causes damages here. And there are still smaller particles. They can even cross the barrier of that alveoli, reach into the bloodstream, go to various other organs, and cause damage in the other organs as well. So what are the short-term effects? You go to a dusty environment, you go to a visibly dusty environment, highly polluted environment like a factory, like a roadside, like a farmhouse, or a place where there is a burning, there is a fuel burning. You can have this cough and breathing difficulty, eyes, nose and throat irritation. We all have experienced this. Headache and anxiety, which we don't know why it is, but probably it is because of the pollution, the skin irritation, allergies, and many other things. But what are the long-term effects? The long-term effects of continuous exposure of these particulate matter is stroke, cardiovascular disease, COPD, lung cancer, diabetes, etc. So it's not that if we have a bad weather or if we have bad air, let's say for 3 months in Delhi and rest of the other 9 months are good, but no, we have increased our chances to have these complications in our life. The nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, these are two, are usually combined and called as NOx. And this is nitric oxide is a colorless and is oxidized in the atmosphere that it becomes a secondary pollutant. So it is a colorless and is oxidized in the atmosphere to form nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide has an odor, so little dusty odor that we smell on a heavily polluted morning is this nitrogen dioxide and the sulfur dioxide that I will talk about it. And it is acidic and highly corrosive gas, right? In poorly ventilated situation, indoor domestic appliances such as gas stove and gas or wood heaters can be a significant source of nitrogen oxides. And you see this every day. You can't see the sky for 3, 4, 5 months in a row. That's because of this. Because it leads to photochemical smog. And they give that yellowish brown color of smog that gives you a sinking feeling when you are driving. I drive through this Barapula every day, so this is a little elevated, so all the buildings are small buildings, and you see a vast expanse of sky, and you're not seeing that sky. I have not seen a sky for God knows how many months or years, right? So that sinking feeling is because of this nitrogen oxides. Again, it causes the same irritant. This is irritant and acidic in nature, and therefore it causes burning in eyes. This irritated mucous membrane, so you keep on coughing. Your cough doesn't stop, right? Prior to coming, now it's been 10 years in Delhi, or maybe 14 years in Delhi, sorry. So my initial 3-4 years were not so bad. We never had this kind of a pollution. So patients would come with allergic cough, you give them medications and then they would never come back because their cough is all gone or maybe just a phone consultation and it's gone. But now it is very difficult. It is very distressing for the patient and depressing for me that I can't cure this simple cough. And the reason is these things. So it leads to a lot of respiratory irritation, emphysema, asthma symptoms, increasing breathing resistance, and decreased compliance and pulmonary inflammation. All these problems in the lung, as well as it causes the allergic things, the problems in the skin, and we have discussed about the cardiovascular disease, as well as in the upper respiratory tract also. The sulfur dioxide is colorless, reactive air pollutant with a strong odor. So you can't see this, but it has got an odor. And again, the refineries and the power plants are a very important source of this sulfur dioxide. And just if I can add that, the government of the day worries about Taj Mahal more than the local people. That this because of the Mathura oil refinery, there was a lot of production of the sulfur dioxide, and therefore the Taj Mahal was becoming paler and paler, and so they took a lot of initiative. And Agra probably has continuous electricity supply much before than many other cities, because people were using generators, so to discourage them, because we thought that a shining Taj Mahal is very important. So the effects on the health is again shortness of breath, wheezing, asthma, worsening, pulmonary inflammation, increased risk of heart attack. All these things are caused by this. So this is just to give you a visual representation of what happens. This is the normal airway. These small tubes that carries the air from your mouth, where you are breathing, from your nostril down into your oropharynx, and then the trachea. It divides into two, and then divides and divides and divides and divides, ultimately to reach what is called as the alveoli, where the air exchange takes place. So this is the normal airway, and it has got a wide and nice and round hole tube through which the air can move up and down, and it is all surrounded by these smooth muscles. Now when they come in exposure to the irritants, when there are irritants and the particulate matter, these airways, they naturally react, because they don't want a noxious thing to come and destroy the alveoli. They have to protect the alveoli. So in the event, what happens is that they shrink. They go into spasm, and now when the cross section, if you see, and the lumen size gets reduced, then what happens? Then you are breathless, because air is not going in, you are wheezing, you are coughing, and all these symptoms are because of this phenomenon. So you have ammonia next on the list, mostly produced through the agricultural processes, and it reacts to atmosphere to produce the particulate matter, again secondary pollutant, which has significant impact, health impacts, and we have discussed about the cardiovascular and the respiratory thing. And not only this, it causes the acidification of the habitats, and it also is responsible for reducing the biodiversity. The lead is also one of the compounds that are being tracked by the Pollution Control Board. So you have these automobile and industrial emissions that leads to lead contaminating the atmosphere, and from there it not only goes into your inhaled air and into your lungs, but it also goes into and contaminates the water, it contaminates the food cycle, and so on and so forth. Now, what can we do? Now, this is most important, and that's where I come in. So, it is very important to have a healthy lifestyle. You live in a polluted city or a clean city, you live on the hills, you live on the plains, you live in the desert, wherever. a healthy lifestyle is very important. Until and unless your doctor has asked you not to drink water because you are suffering from, let's say, a heart disease or a kidney disease or stuff like this, please drink fluids as much as you can, at least 3 to 4 liters of fluid, be it plain water or in terms of any fluids, any soup or lassi, chaach, dahi, fruit juice, anything. Avoid refrigerated and canned things with a preservative, but as much of fluid as you can, please drink the fluid. God has given us tons and tons of minerals and vitamins and antioxidants and the stuff that is required to revitalize your body and to keep the disease at bay and to improve your immunity. It's only that we don't listen to it. So pick up 3 colors every day and have 3 different colors of vegetables or fruits or and anything and everything that can be eaten raw. So pick up 3 things every day and eat it. And that will replenish your, you don't need supplements or you don't need these vitamins over the counter or prescription vitamins. There are certain diseases in which you do need, but by and large you don't. This now entire world is doing except India.
Separate colors every day or same 3 colors every day?
Anything. I mean, I'm just giving you an example that pick up 3 different kind of fruits every day
And same fruits can be continued.
you can do. I mean, there's a limit to the number of changes that you can do. Seasonal vegetables, seasonal fruits, you must have.
Fruits and vegetables put together or separately?
Anything,
Eaten raw, he said.
anything that can be eaten raw without cooking is the point to be taken home. So I was saying that this now entire world is doing except Indians. Not only does it revitalize, not only revitalize your life, it improves the immunity. So we have got plenty of asanas, the physical, stretching, bending exercises. Then we have a lot of breathing exercises that improves your immunity and revitalizes your life. So I think daily practicing yoga, everything. So practice the yoga every day, and that will boost up your immunity and give you, arsenal to fight the disease and the pollution. Now, one should always maintain hygiene, right? Especially about this cough etiquette. So if you are suffering, if you are sneezing, if you are coughing, make sure that you put a handkerchief on your mouth, covering the mouth and the nose, or a tissue. If it is a tissue, please dispose it properly, wash your hands, and if you are sick, please wear a mask if you are moving around in public. No alcohol. If we are living in a polluted city, right? So avoid alcohol as much as you can, especially in the winters. I don't know how people will take this advice, but try and avoid alcohol as much as you can, because not only it will dehydrate your body and will, the ice that we add also causes vasoconstriction and reduces the effectiveness of the barrier, the natural barrier that the God has given us. Absolutely no smoking. In any case, you are smoking 30 cigarettes a day. Why do you want to add to it? Now, I was just discussing before this session, and it so happened that we stumbled upon a topic of hookah and vaping. So I am adding to this right now. Smoking is bad, very bad. But hookah and e-cigarettes is far worse. This is my humble request to you as a responsible doctor and you being responsible citizen. Please take this message to your loved ones, especially the young kids. Do not do hookah. Stay away from e-cigarettes. And I'll just take 1 minute to tell you why. When you smoke a cigarette, at the end of the day, you have a count of it. Doc, I smoke 10 cigarettes a day. Doc, I smoke 20 cigarettes a day. You have a count. We know the content. We have studies of 50 years or maybe 85 years before it was, and now we know that this many pack years causes COPD. These many pack years causes cancer. These many pack years causes this. Now when I'm buying a packet of cigarette, I know that this is what the problem is and it is my personal choice, right? To buy this and to accept the risk. I have decided this. Problem with hookah is everybody thinks that this is safe. Everybody thinks, oh, you do hookah, isme kya hai? Right? If a young kid is smoking and father or mother catch hold of that kid, they'll definitely scold him. But I have seen mothers and fathers taking their sons and daughters, the young kids, to the hookah bar. Right? So there is no social taboo. Plus, once you start taking hookah, there are 5 friends. They'll spend hours and hours together. There is no count to it. Right? When are you starting? When are you ending? And more importantly, when you are not actively doing hookah, just sitting in the society or in that vicinity, you are inhaling fumes of hookah. Right? So, what you are inhaling is much more than what you think that you are inhaling. That is point number 1. Point number 2, and very serious thing is, we don't know what is there in the hookah. You just locally purchased it from a shop in Khan Market or a pan ki dukaan or a shop elsewhere. There is nothing we don't know. It does not have the list of contents on it. It is not certified by ISI. No lab has certified that. It's all made in the back lanes of small ghetto. Whether they are putting paints in this, or lead in this, or arsenic in this, or charas in this, or ganja in this, or heroin in this, we don't know. Right? And we don't know what is the impact of this hookah, smoking on the lungs. Because there is no standardization. In cigarette, it was easy because it was standardized. Right? So we knew that, okay, this much content of nicotine, these many years, is equal to cancer. How do you standardize hookah? How do you, find out? And plus, we don't know. The cigarette take 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of continuous smoking, and that leads to cancer. Hookah is a new thing. After 35 years, if we see a pandemic of cancer, we won't even know that it was hookah, that benign, friendly, so cute hookah that has led to this. Right? So please take this message along. Please educate the younger ones. Please educate the society. Please tell your sons and daughters and grandparents, grandchildren, do not do hookah. It's very bad. Coming back to the topic. So there are patients who may need to optimize their treatment. So anybody who is asthmatic or suffering from COPD, please make sure that you regularize, especially at the onset of the winter. I always ask my COPD and asthma patients. Sorry. Yeah.
Doctor, why is e-vaping bad? Same for
Same thing. Same thing. We don't know what is in the canister. We don't know. There's no end to it. You know, cigarettes you can't smoke in a closed car or closed room, right? E-vaping you can do. So it's practically the same thing, right? So there are patients of asthma and COPD. I always tell them that please visit your doctor once around Dashera and once after Holi, right? Dashera, we increase the treatment. Holi, we reduce the treatment for most of the patients, right? The patients on inhaler may need to be stepped up to nebulizers because they are breathless, and some patients may need to be further put on some steroids. I do not prescribe that you should take steroids over the counter, and this is just for the information. Please talk to your doctor before you take these steroids. So there are some COPD patients, there are some ILD patients who may need oxygen therapy, and then there are CPAPs and the BiPAPs that are required for certain obstructive sleep apnea patient and the COPD patient and the patients with weak lungs. They may need to go on the CPAP and BiPAP therapy. If the doctor advises so, then please take this and follow the instruction. There are certain vaccinations, the pneumococcal vaccine and the influenza vaccine. Because we are in that wintry area where wintry time where the pollution is also there, and where the incidence of the viral fever is also increasing, so we must take this pneumococcal and influenza vaccine if advised by the doctor. When the particle pollution levels are high, take steps to limit the amount of air you breathe in while you are outside, right? So you must think about spending more times indoor while where the particle pollution levels are usually lower. Till 5 years ago, I would ask my patients that air purifiers are good to have. I mean, if you can afford it, why not to have it? If you can't, then leave it. I have changed my stand. I tell them that, especially if you have an elderly patient, if you have newborns, right, you must try and get the air purifier, right? Choose easier outdoor activities like walking instead of running so you don't breathe as hard. If you're going for a morning walk or stroll, avoid early morning and late in the evening. Usually try and go during when the sun is there. Yes.
So would you please extrapolate on point number 1 that when particle pollution levels are high, take steps to limit the amount of air you breathe in while you're outside?
Well, you don't go for jogging, you don't do strenuous exercises, right? These are the things that you would do. If it is heavily polluted, if the AQI level is high, take a lift, don't climb up the stairs. And avoid busy roads on the highway where the particulate matter is usually worse because of the emissions from the cars and the trucks. The AQI level that we see on the TV screen is much better than the AQI level at the Ames Choraha or Dolakuma, just for the traffic policeman, the one who is standing over there. So it is much worse for him, unfortunately, right? And with all these things, I really thank you for your patience. If there are any questions or queries, I encourage you to scan this and fill the feedback form for me, so that I can refine my talk next time when I meet people like this. everything.
Let's take questions one by one.
Sorry?
Air purifier you mentioned is almost commodity. One should have at home.
I think so. I'm not advertising for air purifier, but the things are that,
Dr. Jain, I suggest we take, there are very lots of people here. So let's take 2 or 3 at a time. There is a lady there who wants to ask a question.
Should we open our windows at all and change the air inside the, or just keep them shut all the time?
yes, you must.
Must?
You must. I'll tell you why.
Must open or not open?
Open.
Open, exactly.
Open. As I told you, the indoor air pollution in any case is far worse than the outdoor air pollution, right? So you want this air exchange to happen, right? Unless it is visibly dusty, unless it is visibly smoggy, then it's a different issue. But, and more importantly, since you have raised this topic, if you're lucky to have a house where the sunlight comes in, must open it.
For how long?
Well, for some time so that you can recirculate the air 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening during the sunlight times. Right? I will not advise you to do it early morning or late night. Yeah, during the sunlight.
I think this is very
Doctor,
important advice
related
because
question.
a lot of people who have purifiers, they think that they're doing themselves a lot of good by 24 hours keeping everything shut and they're sitting inside the room. So it's very good that you've explained that
Yes.
it's not such a great idea to keep the doors and windows closed.
Yeah, maybe you may have to change the filters a little more frequently,
Yeah.
but it's worth it. You must allow the air in.
Can you give them a mic, please? Gentleman at the back. Took a mic, please. And somebody had asked Dr. Ashish about the vaccines. I just wanted you to explain that the pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine, which I took in fact 7 days before I was hospitalized, and I remember asking the doctor at Max that I thought I was immune from pneumonia and I took the vaccine and how did I get double pneumonia? And then the doctor explained because doctors always have a good explanation that gives immunity to one kind of pneumonia but not the other kind of pneumonia. So I'd be grateful if you explain that.
Yeah,
also.
I will.
Yeah.
Can I just
Yes, gentlemen.
Doctor, I was asking as a follow-up to what you just said. You said that if you have a place where you get good sunlight, then it's more important to open the windows. What is the link of sunlight in this?
Sunlight is the best sanitizer in the world. There is no other sanitizer that we have which can be even compared to sunlight. Sunlight is the best. I mean, look at the age-old thing that we have been doing. Our mothers and grandmothers would pick up the sweater early winter and then put them in the sunlight. They were disinfecting them, right? So sunlight is very important.
Does it actually makes a difference to the those AQI levels also, the sunlight?
Low AQI level. Apart from AQI, there are many other things in your room, right? So it sanitizes that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you give the mic here?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Jain, for a very enlightening and informative lecture. I have 2 questions. One is about the PM 2.5. Now, the PM 2.5 in the lung is an accumulative, I would call it accumulative poison.
Yes.
Now, what is the way to clean it up, if at all? And if not, what should one do? That is question number 1. Question number 2, which is actually a challenge to the medical profession, saying that if the AQI is going to 900, I was living in US for some time, the AQI is 2 or 3 in some of the cities. I am here in 900, which is a gas chamber. What is the medical profession doing? The most important thing to me seems to be to control this pollution. Everything else is secondary, but then nobody is talking about it. Will the medical profession stand up and say this is enough? Please stop it first and do everything else later. Thank you.
Yes, not only the medical profession, the policymakers, the journalists, the responsible citizens, everybody must stand up and ask the people who are responsible to make the policies. But before that, I am responsible for this. I said this, we all are responsible for this. We all are driving cars. Why are we not traveling in metro? We all want constant, 24 hours AC. We all want uninterrupted power supply. We all want, you move around in the luxurious bungalows and the coties around, you would see the chowkidars and the security guards, burning wood, right? So we are responsible for this, but you are right. Everybody must, unless we ask for it, we will not get it.
Doctor, just clarification on.
2.5, doctor. PM 2.5.
Yes, PM 2.5 is definitely a cumulative thing. More number of days in a dusty environment, the more number of carcinogens and the toxic agents that you accumulate, and more chances of side effects with this. How to clean the lungs? I think these 4 or 5 things that I've said: plenty of water, fresh fruits and vegetables, yoga. These are the things that I can think of right now, but no prescribable medicine or any procedure for this.
Doctor, just to clarify this indoor versus outdoor activity. So we've seen government advisory also, the pollution levels are high, don't go outdoors, stay indoors. While as you said, the indoor pollution level is much higher than what it is outside. So I'm a little confused. Is
Yes.
it safer to
So
stay at
everybody is
home or is it
confused.
safer to go to a park
Yes.
and come back?
Yes, I totally agree with this. Everybody is confused, and the governments are super confused, right? But here's the logic: if it is visibly dusty, if it is really to the levels of 900, I mean, when you are staying indoors, you have air purifier, you can run the AC, and you can do limit your exercises also, so that you don't breathe too faster. And there is another reason why government encourages you to stay indoor is कि please car mat leke jao, don't add to the pollution, right? So this is what my explanation is, that if it is visibly dusty, if it is really smoggy, then it's better to sit on a couch, watch Netflix, and not do anything.
What about doing some steaming or gargling? Would that help to sort of doing or?
I don't think so. If you are coming back from a visibly dusty or polluted thing, you see little itchy on your face, a little eyes burning. Wash your face frequently. Wash your hands frequently. So that will take away all the dust and the toxins that you have accumulated on your face and in your eyes, right? So that you can do.
If you could answer.
Hardly matters.
Please,
I'm not sure.
I think that vehicle pollution contributes significantly to the menace of pollution as we see it today. What can be done to exhort people to use public transport? Because it's just not fair. There are certain things that the people can do, certain things that the government should do and has to do. The problem of stubble burning can only be sorted out between the state government and central government, in which the general public has nothing to do. So why can't the government do what it's supposed to do? And regarding yoga, I've heard that pranayama is very good for giving strength to the lungs. Is it true?
Yes. So for the first question,
2-3 questions at a time?
yes, after this. So the first lengthy question, very appropriate. This is the same question from me to you. I am no different. Yes, government should do something. There are certain things that government can do, but at least we can start trying on our own whatever we can do and offer, right? Start. You can't avoid taking your car, but at least park the car properly. Don't encroach on the on the road. Don't park your car and cause a traffic jam, right? At least this is what we can do. We can start doing this, right? Follow the traffic rules, right? Drive in your lane. At least this much what we can do. Let us start doing this. It is a cumulative effort. I think unless everybody does it, as we say in this Ubuntu, right? We all succeed together.
There was an important question which he asked you, which was about pranayama. And I remember you telling me when you released me from hospital that I should not do pranayama for at least 3 weeks because I was still recovering. So maybe you can like to clarify that there are certain exercises of pranayama which can be done by people who have healthy lungs, and some pranayama exercises which the yoga teacher will also tell you not to do if you have some lung problem, asthma.
But is it
So,
okay to do pranayama in this air?
Yes. I mean, you are breathing. You
But
can't stop breathing.
breaths of this
No.
polluted air.
No, I think that's okay, but I can see that, the memories of those 7-10 days of admission,
12 days.
12 days of admission, my God, haunts you all the time.
No.
That is, anyway.
There was a lady at the back also who wanted to ask, maybe after you could pass the mic.
How effective, which types and how effective are the masks?
Masks, yes, I will tell you about masks.
Why don't you ask your question also?
I wanted the answer to what Ambassador asked about the vaccine. The pneumonia
Vaccine, yes, sure.
And there's one question, somebody here wanted to ask the question. Yes. Oh, PJ.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. There's a IT study that if in NCR people were to use cycles for 5 kilometers, these people who are fit, then we save around 500,000 liters of fuel every day. So that was one thing. Second is for cyclists, can we use a N99 mask, slow cycling with a double nozzle?
Yeah, I'll take this.
Yeah, and second is just a comment. We support the child PGI, whatever 800 children come from all over the country, in neighboring countries, with blood donations. And I find that during this time, when we do camps, the numbers have fallen to 1/4. The donor themselves are on antibiotics. So with this takeaway of a healthier lifestyle, I hope to improve this number over time with this message going through.
Sure.
Would you like to answer these 3?
So I will answer first with your pneumococcal vaccine, and you wanted to ask whether your pneumonia was because of this.
No. I said that I took the pneumococcal vaccine, and then 2 weeks later I got what you called atypical double pneumonia, both lungs affected.
Yeah.
And then you explained to me that the vaccine that I had taken was to protect me against another kind of pneumonia.
Yeah.
And that the pneumonia that I had, which, as a result of which I was hospitalized, comes from a different kind of infection. So I thought if you can explain that.
Yeah, sure. So, we doctors try every time to confuse our patients, right? Because we know certain words and terminologies which general public don't know. Pneumonia is any infection in the lung. If you see a patch on the X-ray, that's pneumonia, right? But in common parlance that we talk about pneumonia is we are referring to a bacterial pneumonia, right? We are talking about pneumonia when you have a high fever, cough, rusty sputum, chest pain, and you're sick looking, right? So people call this as pneumonia, but in medical terminology, pneumonia is anything that can cause a patch on the X-ray or on the CT scan, right? So that's number one. So there is a difference between what I call this as pneumonia versus what the common people, they call this as pneumonia, number one. Number two, as regards to pneumococcal vaccine, the pneumococcal vaccine is effective on a specific type of a strain, a specific type of a bacteria, pneumococcal. Only that bacteria will be affected by this. And the incidence of this particular bacteria causing pneumonia in the general public is very high, right? There are some people like unfortunately, madam, she was suffering from what we call as a atypical pneumonia. That's a different variety. So any pneumococcal vaccine will, decrease the incidence of a proper pneumonia only in cases of, this pneumococcal thing, right? So this is about the pneumococcal vaccine. About the masks, the N95 mask and respirable and non-breathable masks and all that, I would discourage use of mask, right? Unless you are going in a visibly dusty environment, right? You're off-roading and you see a lot of dust around, you may want to put a mask on, right? But these masks, they have got a limited life, right? And they have they can't be reused, right? So, and then once they are clogged, it becomes difficult for you to breathe. So what I would suggest is that let's not go in for the masks, a handkerchief or a dupatta or some cloth, some form of cloth, especially when you are passing through a visibly dusty environment. Rest of the other time, I don't think that you can use this. The cyclist won't be able to use a mask because they are breathing heavily and this mask cannot support this. Right?
Disposable surgical mask?
Hardly anything, I mean, just, it's a show off. Nothing more. Can't help.
This
Right?
kind of.
This kind of.
For visible dust?
No, not even for visible dust. This I would advise to people who themselves are infected, right? So that they don't spread it, right? This mask can't save you, but well, you can wear this. This is, in fact, putting on these masks are good reminder to yourself that I must not venture out on this, I must not do this, I must not. This is sort of a reminder, like I write on a hand. It's like this.
It's called the feel-good factor.
Feel-good factor.
So COVID time, this was popularized, this mask was
That was a
popularized.
different time. That was a different time, and thankfully we are out of it.
Okay, so I want to ask.
Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Because
I
we
think
will
she
have to.
wants to ask.
So there were two,
Yeah.
three. We can take 2-3 questions together. Please take the.
Sir, biologically, is it possible to reverse the damage caused by the
No.
extreme? It's not possible.
No.
In younger population also?
No.
This. Questions.
Yeah, I'm with you. So there was a question which came that if the air is already so polluted and you deep breathe in, at the same time I can see why we deep breathe in because we open the lungs so they can really work well. So there seems to be a contradiction, as if do you wash your room with dirty water? It's almost like that. So can you show us, throw some little bit of light on that?
See, what I would say is that there is no, double-blind cohort studies that people have done that, okay, fine, in one room there are 5 people who are breathing fast and there are 5 people who are not breathing fast and what happens to them after 10 years. We don't know, right? It is just an extrapolation of our knowledge with some sort of an instance, and then people would put their logic and their knowledge and then they would come out with these answers, right? So here's what I have to say. Now, if you think that, we are saying that don't go early in the morning so we are just trying to minimize the thing. If you're deep breathing because you're exercising. So you're getting benefits of the exercise, right? You're getting the benefits of the pranayama, right? So you don't want to throw the baby with the water. That's what I'm saying. So, you can't put a pitch cork on your nose and not breathe. That's not going to happen, right? So you have to just take it,
You're probably making it stronger, the respiratory organ stronger. I would just
There's somebody who wanted to ask a question behind you also.
I'll just add a comment. As a yoga teacher, we talked about deep breathing. One of the things we do is actually work on the posture. If people have collapsed lungs, if you sit like this, they automatically breathing like 40% less. So one of the first things to do is just open their postures. And we see in asthmatics especially, the abdomen is very hard, the diaphragmatic area. So we first allow that to soften. So they just start breathing much better. Before we even venture into pneumonia, because that can damage if there's weakness inside.
Thank you, doctor. Sir, you were a little apprehensive about the benefits of steaming. And there's a yoga therapy called Jalniti.
Jalniti is different and steaming is different. Okay. The two are two different things.
So steaming can be beneficial in this period?
Well, if you feel that it is helping you, there is no harm. But I have neither heard, read, or neither my colleagues have told me that it works for them. Unless you have stuffy nose, unless your nose is blocked. I don't know whether it helps in just taking away the pollution thing. You want to do Jalniti? Please go ahead.
Yes, there are 3 or 4 more, then we will have to stop the session. After you, the lady here, Mrs. Tia Mukhopadhyay, and then we have. Please.
Do reusable and washable masks like these help? No? Why is that, sir?
See, what are we doing with these masks? These masks, like for 5% of the time you're putting it here, for 95% of the time you're putting it here, it's not helping you, right? If you're in a visibly dusty environment, you can wear masks. And what are these masks protecting from? They are barely PM10 and above, right? What about the gases? They are coming in. It's not helping you.
For that one needs an N95 or higher?
Why do you want to do this? I mean, it's probably it will restrict your respiration and it will cause more harm to you rather than any benefit.
Are N95s helpful, sir?
I don't think so. For pollution, unless you are an industrial worker or you are going on a construction site, I will not advise that.
This is Tia Mukhopadhyay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It was a wonderful session going on. Most of my questions have been answered and asked by others, sensible people. So the thing is that I have, can I use pranayama? I was told not to do it because with a stent and a pacemaker. Is it safe to do deep breathing?
My gut feeling says that yes, you can, but in today's day and age of medical legal cases, I would say ask your cardiologist, right? But I think there should be.
I will take 2 more questions.
But before that, there's one tip that I would like to give and pass on in this polluted environment is if you can roll up all your carpets and
Put them aside.
right? One. 2, the curtains should be light, which can be washed frequently. Right? 3, no jharu. No jharu. No grooming. Either vacuum cleaning or direct wet mopping. Right? When you put the jharu, all that you are doing is that the dust that was, sedimented on the floor, now it is suspended in the air. Right? This dust was non-respirable and now it has become respirable. After 6 hours, the dust barely settles down and you would say, "Arey, itna ganda hai, chalo jhadu lagaye." Right? So vacuum cleaning will throw the dust out, wet mopping will throw the dust out, not the jharu. So
maybe you could also explain to the audience, you talked about healthy food. I'm one of the very rare people who eat 3 fruits different and 3 vegetables different raw for the last 50 years for breakfast and lunch. Most people don't. So maybe you could elaborate that the kind of breakfast that normal North Indians eat and winter, and afternoon and pakoras and aloo pakoras and all the rest of it is not good for the health. What should they eat? That would be very helpful.
He takes only fruits in the morning. He has a black full bowl of fruits.
So yes, the fruits are very helpful. They are there are plenty of minerals and vitamins and antioxidants, more than any capsule, more than any tablet or any syrup that a doctor can prescribe you, right? So go the natural way. That is one thing that I can tell you. And the second thing is
Three colors. Explain the three colors.
three colors is in fact my innovation. This is my innovation. You know, I feel that one should give a task so that it can be, you know, eat plenty of or lot of fruits, right? This statement versus pick up 3 fruits and eat them. I have found that my patients follow the Baker advice much more, you know, seriously as compared to the बहुत सारे फल खाने चाहिए, ठीक है बहुत सारे खा रहे हैं. Everybody has got a different scale of बहुत सारे. So this is absolutely my innovation, no scientific background. I just want to encourage more fruits and therefore 3 and plus 3 different colors means you are getting 3 different. Orange उठाया vitamin C ले लिया, ये उठाया ये ले लिया, वो उठाया वो ले लिया. So means you are having, you know, everything, a wholesome platter basically.
Some people say jaggery is good for pollution.
Jaggery is good. Rest I don't know.
We take one last question.
Yeah, this I was
Somebody had a
asking.
mic. Yeah.
I was asking the same thing. As you said that indoor pollution is more than the outdoor pollution, so I wanted to ask how to reduce it, how to reduce the indoor pollution. So few things you have already said.
Yeah.
About
Carpets,
not have carpets, don't have
curtains, you know, no jharu, and some people may like it, some people may not, but keep your pets out of your house.
And agarbatti is also important.
Agarbatti, dhupbatti, perfume, room spray, kachua chhap, out.
Even kachua chhap.
that is the worst.
Might get dengue. Might get dengue.
Well, you have to trade off certain things, right?
What about not using chemically based cleaners? You know?
Yes, chemical cleaners. Yes.
So right, I think we've taken up a lot of Dr. Ashish Jen's time, and we're so grateful. Maybe, you know, you have an interactive website, I think.
Yeah.
You could share some details and we will put it on our website. As I said, he's a very caring doctor, and you can get an appointment with him at Max. It's a little difficult to get an appointment actually, but I'm sure if you give my name, maybe he'll be a little kinder about giving you a quick appointment. I hope you don't need an appointment, but if you do, I would strongly recommend him. Thank you very much, Dr. Jain, and it's such a pleasure, and we've really benefited from your
Yeah. This audience has been really wonderful, and I really loved talking to you all. Thank you very much. And please, just if you can send some feedback and some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you, right?
Very